Welcome to Eye on KELOLAND Rewind. I'm Maddie Paul. From a not-so-little farming museum to restoring vegetation out west, we have a lot of stories to share with you today. Up first, Augustana University has been a staple in Sioux Falls for over 100 years. But what you may not know is that southeast South Dakota was not its first home. Augustana went through multiple moves, which included 5 other locations and multiple name changes. Jordan DeSmit explains why Augustana kept bouncing around and how it ended up in Sioux Falls.
Right now, Augustana University's campus sits in central Sioux Falls, but that hasn't always been the case.
I describe it as ping-ponging. Like we ping-ponged our way across.
Liz Caesar is a collections associate at Augustana's Center for Western Studies. She says Augustana was originally founded in 1860 in Chicago, but it wasn't there for long.
The first move in 1863 was because they had decided that their school would be better served being in a rural setting, particularly in a community that was predominantly Scandinavian, because that's the student body they were anticipating serving. So they moved 100 miles away to Paxton, Illinois.
Following that was a move to Marshall, Wisconsin in 1869 before making the decision to move to Northwest Iowa in 1881.
Basically, they're following the people westward. They're following the immigration patterns. And so they moved to Beloit, Iowa, and operated there.
Then Augustana finally made its way across the border into what was then the Dakota Territory in 1884.
The school was actually expanding beyond the facilities that they were using in Beloit, and across the river, the citizens of Canton offered this big, beautiful space if the school would move, like pick up and move across the river and operate in Canton instead.
Augustana was originally housed downtown until it moved operations here to the eastern edge of Canton.
They wanted to have a location where they could expand the college and put up other buildings as they were needed.
Bill Peterson studies Canton history.
Some of it was financial, with bringing students here, and then the employees worked here who had to buy goods from the businesses and that kind of thing. Plus, there was a lot of cultural things going on. When the school was open here, they would actually have concerts and a lot of different things sponsored on campus, in the chapel, in the auditorium, and different things like that.
However, changes in the Lutheran Church sparked yet another move.
There was a merger of 3 synods, and this merger was something that had been desired for a long time. When it was all said and done, it brought 90% of the Norwegian Lutherans all together in the same church for the first time. So it was a big deal. The problem, though, was that these 3 synods that had joined together, one of them had been operating Augustana in Canton, and another one of them had been operating Lutheran Normal School on this property where we are now in Sioux Falls.
Decision makers didn't want 2 schools that close together competing with one another.
The decision was, we're done doing this. Let's merge the 2 together, which set off a very heated debate about, is that going to be located in Sioux Falls or is it going to be in Canton? Ultimately, the decision was made to move the institution to Sioux Falls.
That happened in 1918. Over the years, many things at Augustana have changed and the college has grown. Augustana's 5 moves helped it earn monikers like the School on Wheels or the College on Wheels.
I would think at some point you're just sick of moving.
That might be one of the reasons why Augustana has put itself in park in Sioux Falls for over a century.
And following this story, Jordan DeSmit joined inside the newsroom to talk about creating this Eye on KELOLAND story. Here's a look into what we discussed. It's before you even started creating this story. How did you learn about it?
So I try to do like a history-esque story every month or so. And so I did a story on Canton a while back.
Yes.
And when I was doing that story on Canton, that's when I first found out, well, Augustana was in Canton at one point. What in the world? And so that's when I started to kind of look into it. I kept that story idea in the back of my mind, and that's when I realized, Canton wasn't even the first spot for it. So I wanted to dig into that history a little bit more.
I was wondering because I recognized Bill Peterson in this story, and he was a part of your Canton story too, because him as well as you are history buffs. So it's so interesting. And how does building rapport and connections as you keep going out for stories just help you in the long run, especially with an example like Bill Peterson?
Yeah, it's really cool, especially probably the coolest thing about being a reporter, one of the coolest things is I can just build contacts in my phone. I probably add a new contact every day. And so when you just try your best to leave a good impression on people, they're willing to talk to you again. And so I think Bill got back to me within a few minutes when I shot him a text asking if he wanted to interview, and he made time for it, and he met me over by the old Augustana Canton site. So it was really cool.
That's amazing. And the visuals of the story are very interesting too, because you have video that's on location today, but then as we can see here, there's some file footage too. So how did you find all of these visuals?
When I got back to the station after I originally shot it, one of our managers, Anna Peters, overheard me talking about it. And she's like, look and see if we have any archive footage. And that's a fantastic idea. So when I was finishing this up on Sunday, when I was in and I was working, I just kind of went through it and found and used what I thought was best. And so one of those that you saw, the Augustana mascot, was from the 1950s.
Ooh, that's so
that's
crazy.
as far back as we went. So it was really interesting looking through some of that.
Awesome. And you are becoming one of those history buffs now, and it's interesting to hear that you try to look for something historical like once a month. So what did you find most interesting about creating this story?
Just the multiple moves. It was interesting because it moved for different times each time different reasons each time that I didn't really have time to get into. And also, I'm from Northwest Iowa, and Augustana was in Northwest Iowa at one point. I didn't know that, in a town called Beloit. And the crazy part was I had never heard of Beloit until I worked on that Canton story originally. And I'm like, what in the world? Even talking to some people in the newsroom who are also familiar with Northwest Iowa, they're like, I didn't really know what Beloit was either. So, and there was a college there, and it was interesting. And I also wondered too, and I was talking to Ray Yost, one of our digital reporters today. She was like, man, I wonder what Canton would look like now if Augustana would have stayed, because it would bring in a lot more people year. So it's the what ifs you go through when you do stories like this is really interesting.
That's your next what if story with Bill Peterson.
Maybe.
You two should actually take over Inside the Newsroom and just talk about the what ifs. That would be so cool.
Yeah, he loves talking about Canton history, so we can be a nice 30-minute show if we need it to be.
And he loves texting you now too, so it's perfect. Well, what do you hope viewers take away from watching or reading your story, Jordan?
I would say just understand that everything has a story. I've done a lot of stories on history of towns, and now I changed it up and I did one on a college. And, if you look deep enough, there's something interesting you can find.
Inside the Newsroom airs weekdays at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock on KELOLAND Plus. And still to come, a one-of-a-kind farming collection, and it's bigger than you imagine. More to come on Ion KELOLAND Rewind after the break.
Jim Lacey collects something most others do not.
I put this together with my wife. This is all, I had a dream years ago that I would like to do this.
A dream turned into a collection of barns. Lots of barns.
I think 12 or 13. 2 we built, the rest came in.
The 84-year-old collector and his wife, Joan, have turned this once empty lot into a whole lot of history, building and moving barns of all kinds to the property.
He looked at it and he said, if you can figure out how to lift it, I can move it. So I made the bracing inside so we could pick this round egg carton up, which is really tippy, and we got it here.
Now, just a few miles west of Trent, South Dakota, sits the little village farm. But as you can see...
No, it's not so little, is it? Well, Joni had that problem. What do you mean another barn?
Barns are only a piece of the collection.
Look at this mailbox.
Because more history waits to be delivered on the inside.
I found a picture of it, so I made a flag for it. So if you got a letter in you want to pick up. See, the mailman takes the letter out, and then the flag drops. He puts your mail in, shuts the door.
Jim collects just about everything, like this old Dexter washing machine.
The flywheels helps you get through Grandpa's overalls. If you might even have to bear down and step on the pedal to get through his overalls.
And farming tractors, both full-size and scaled-down Model T versions.
The 1/8 scale tractors, Joni likes those, so we managed to gather up maybe 20 of those.
And plenty of other attractions, sure to catch your eye.
The Case Eagle came from his bona fide dealership, Eagle, in the middle here.
Jim's collecting days started when he was a little boy.
Well, you go to an auction sale with mom and a box of bottles that sell for 25 cents. Well, the guy wanted something out of the box. Here, kid, you can have the box. And sort of like that. I started gathering as a little boy with a little locomotive I'll show you.
That one little engine is all it took to spark the start of this special site. Some of the items here at the Little Village Farm Museum were purchased at sales by Jim. A handful were donated, others discovered by pure luck. And then there's the cluster of baseball caps that hang from barn ceilings.
Between the three buildings, there's 10,000 hats around here.
Gifted to Jim's wife, Joan, who also helps out with the museum and has been battling lupus.
She's just a tough lady, but she lost her hair once, so people gave her hats. And then the hair came back and the hats kept coming.
Jim's background in farming also started when he was a kid, helping his dad on their 100-acre potato farm.
We would sell them grocery stores and the like. And then we got into irrigation stuff. My dad had 28 patents. He was always thinking, and I've learned the same thing, you think outside the box, because it's what we were raised as.
Now Jim is the one doing the teaching, helping so many others connect with and appreciate the past.
It's a lot of work. It's been a lot of work.
Work Jim describes as worth it. Here at the little farm with loads of history and heart.
Well, still to come, one program is hoping to make a difference in kids' lives. More to come on Eye on KELOLAND Rewind when we come back after the break. Stay with us. And welcome back to Eye on KELOLAND Rewind. Teachers and principals at the 42 public schools in Sioux Falls are working hard to educate our children, but they can't always do it alone. That's where organizations, civic groups, and even churches come in. All are supporting programs in our schools to help kids succeed. And one of the most successful ways may very well be one of the newest. Tom Hansen looks at how Promising Futures is changing lives.
Steve Hildebrand grew up in Mitchell as the youngest of 9 children. After college, Steve built a career as a political strategist, and in 2008 was Barack Obama's deputy national campaign manager. He got out of politics and moved to Sioux Falls and opened a restaurant. In 2019, he heard a shocking statistic about kids living in poverty. The rate had risen to 48% in the Sioux Falls School District.
I just kind of always wondered, why doesn't somebody do something about this?
The founding of Promising Futures was 6 years ago this month.
We started talking to principals and asking how we could support their schools, and that's how we got started.
Promising Futures started at Lowell Elementary and now has various programs in 21 schools. In the Book a Month program, grade schoolers pick out 9 books a year that they get to keep for their very own. So far, the kids have taken home more than 51,000 books. The foundation also supports teachers and addresses basic needs and wants for the kids. Every Christmas, they make sure kids get something special. We were there as some Hawthorne Elementary students opened their presents.
Super surprised. Everybody was so happy.
Promising Futures also provides field trips and experiences for kids, from a day at the zoo to packing the Washington Pavilion with 1st and 2nd graders for a performance of Winnie the Pooh. As part of the effort to broaden horizons, Promising Futures arranges visits for 8th graders to college campuses and technical schools. The goal? Let students see themselves on a college campus. For high schoolers, there is the College and Career Access Partnership that is changing lives.
This is a nerve-wracking piece for me because it's a very expensive program, but we've hired our first 4 college and career advisors that are working full-time at Jefferson High School. They're helping kids navigate their path to the future. It's helping kids with college access, technical school access, careers in the military.
Sioux Falls School Superintendent Jamie Nold says that process is going to let students see their future and what it could hold.
And whether somebody's future is to go to college or if it's to go to a technical school, military, or straight into the workforce, great for them. We just don't want anybody to miss what they could potentially have as a career option because they didn't know.
If they could raise enough money, Hildebrand hopes to expand the program to all 4 public high schools in the city. With some humility, Hildebrand will tell you that Promising Futures is not just his foundation.
All of the ideas that we have funded have come from the principals or their teachers and staff in their schools. I'm not an educator, I don't pretend to know. I have some capacity to raise money in our community, and so that's my role. So if a principal tells me this is one of their needs, I'm not there to challenge them, I'm there to support them, and that's how we function.
According to Hildebrand, Promising Futures would not be doing the good work it is doing without the support of generous people.
It's far beyond what I ever expected. I thought we would have this cute little foundation and do some good things. And, supporting 21 schools is a big lift, but the community has risen to the occasion.
The name Promising Futures says it all. It's all about exposing kids who may have challenges through no fault of their own to the many possibilities that are available to them.
And that was Tom Hansen reporting. Up next, Halloween, for many, means an overload of candy and dressing up in some of your favorite costumes. But for one Sioux Falls family, the holiday has a deeper meaning. Summer Roddershot shows us how spooky has turned sentimental.
She loved her devil horns, too.
Lou Beener loved everything about spooky season.
And she's always just loved Halloween and instilled this love of Halloween in me and my brothers and the grandkids.
Every single year when she was in the nursing home, she'd have me come and we would decorate her whole apartment.
Even when it wasn't Halloween, we'd go away on a trip somewhere and we'd come back and there would be a fly in the yogurt or there would be a snake in the toilet.
Her love of Halloween affected her family so deeply that they decided to start a walk-through Halloween event that they called Grandma Lou's Hollow.
I think the best way to describe what we have now is almost like a festival. We have lots of free activities. We're going to be doing story reading this year, search and find. We give away free books, all that sorts of Halloween stuff.
This year, the theme is Witches Coven, which may not seem sentimental to most people, but it is for Grandma Lou's family.
As a tradition, every year, my mom and I would exchange ugly witches. We try to find the ugliest witch that we could, either like through thrifting or through rummage sailing. And some of these witches were really hideous and bad. And I still have most of her collection in my kitchen year-round.
And we're trying to throw some stuff in, some Wizard of Oz stuff, a little bit Macbeth we've thrown in there.
I think that this is our best year yet. I think this is the year that we've kind of just... everything's really come together. Everybody who has been helping, the whole family is really a part of it. Family, friends, everybody just comes out and helps. And we have, I think, the most volunteers this year than we've ever had. So it's going to be a blast.
But this interactive display isn't easy to put on. It's a year-round endeavor.
Jana does a lot of it. She works on this all through those dark winter months. It kind of spills her time when she needs something to focus on, and I think this is really her pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. But most of the big work comes in, I would say, starting August is when we start putting together the big things, building things.
It's a ton of prep work. It's a ton of building stuff, but the magic happens once we're able to put stuff out.
While Halloween is a spooky holiday, the crew at Grandma Lou's does what they can to make it friendly for people of all ages.
A lot of it is playful. Some of it is a little scary, but there's nothing that would frighten away families. It's more of an embracing of Halloween as fun as opposed to excessive terror or gore.
Mostly we get young families with small children, and they're very appreciative because I don't think that there's a lot of places for that age group to go. Maybe you have a little toddler who likes to trick or treat, but they can't go very far, or maybe it's cold or the weather's not that great. This is just a quick, easy stop to go in and out.
While everyone has different reasons for helping out with the event, Lennon's reason is clear.
For me personally, it's part of the family dynasty of loving Halloween, and I love Halloween. My mom instilled that in me, and Grandma Lou instilled that in her.
While Grandma Lou passed away a few years ago, she's still with them, both in spirit and in teeth.
I really think that she would be proud and honored. She was very humble, and like my son had said, she didn't want a lot of recognition in life, so this is good. It's all good.
The last image I have of her at this haunt is they had rolled her back into the van. It was a wheelchair accessible van. And I saw her silhouette. She was facing this way. She had big white poofy hair like on her logo. And she was holding that plastic knife like she was Michael Myers. That was the last image that she got to see of our Halloween stuff.
Across the Black Hills, there are over 100 of these beaver dams that have been patched up over the past few years.
These are beaver dam analogs, and really what we're looking at behind me is a historic beaver dam that we've taken natural materials that we've pulled from on site, and we've started to close them up and slow water down behind them to be able to keep more water on the landscape for longer.
Without these efforts, water pushes through landscapes, depriving vegetation throughout the Black Hills.
And start to rehydrate what we call the valley sponge, right? It's that soil, that area, those acres adjacent to your stream. We want those to start holding water again and acting as a sponge for our ecosystems.
Representative Scott Odenbach has been a supporter of clean water in the Black Hills and recently took time to join in these ongoing efforts.
Part of what they're doing here that slows that water down helps to recharge our aquifers out here, and that benefits, like I say, everybody from cattle ranchers to folks who enjoy recreation and the beauty for its own sake to people who want to maybe dig wells in the future for homes.
Over a dozen groups work together on this conservation project.
It doesn't matter whether or not you're a fly fisherman or a cattle rancher or somebody that just drinks water downstream from where we are. We all need clean, clear, plentiful water, right? And in order for us to have that into the future, to ensure that those things come to us, is that we have to work on watershed and riparian stream health.
It's great when you see it's direct action by people who care. That's the folks that make up this collaborative effort. And so, you know, at times there's a role for legislation or for the state to get involved, but I think probably even more of it is just people being aware of what they can go out and help do.
This project will eventually get stream flows back up to what they once were, as the groups are starting to see more positive results from their work.
What we started to see was things like springs return to the landscape that had been gone for a really long time. We started to see wildlife return to these stream systems that we haven't normally seen here. We've seen the plant community respond significantly.
Just a whole bunch of fun. When you get a bunch of people together and we're all digging in the mud together, and it's instant gratification. You can really see that water start to back up. And you start seeing the landscape start holding water again and watch the vegetation change to something that's more historic, more natural. It's gratifying.
And that's all the time that we have today for Eye on KELOLAND Rewind. Thank you so much for watching. And remember, you can find all of your Eye on KELOLAND stories online at KELOLAND.com. Until next time, have a great day, everyone.